Best wildlife photography cameras for beginners. Wildlife photography is an exciting yet challenging genre that requires the right gear. But if you're just starting out, finding the best beginner-friendly camera can feel overwhelming. Should you go for a DSLR or mirrorless? What about sensor size, autofocus, and burst speed? Don't worry, I've got you covered. In this video, we'll break down the best wildlife photography cameras for beginners, covering top choices for different budgets and needs. Whether you are capturing birds in flight or big cats on safari, these cameras will help you get stunning shots without breaking the bank. How to choose a beginner-friendly camera for wildlife photography. Wildlife photography throws a lot of challenges your way: unpredictable motion, tricky lighting, and the need for serious telephoto capabilities, not to mention wildlife is the most demanding autofocus genre in photography. If you're just starting out, picking the right camera can make all the difference between frustrating missed shots and stunning captures that make you fall in love with the craft. Here's what I've learned over the years about choosing a beginner-friendly camera for wildlife photography. Sensor size, APS-C versus full frame, which is better for wildlife? This is one of the biggest debates in photography, and honestly, there's no one-size-fits-all answer. But if you're just starting, an APS-C sensor is often the better choice. Why? Crop factor. An APS-C sensor gives you a 1.5x or 1.6x crop, depending on the brand, which means a 300mm lens effectively becomes a 450mm or more. That extra reach is a game changer for wildlife because telephoto lenses can get crazy expensive. Full-frame cameras, on the other hand, have better low-light performance and higher dynamic range, but they come at a cost, literally. They're pricier, and you'll need longer, more expensive lenses to get the same framing as an APS-C setup. If budget isn't a concern and you plan to shoot in low-light conditions a lot, like deep forests or early mornings, a full frame might be worth it. But for most beginners, APS-C is the smarter, more affordable choice to get started with wildlife photography. DSLR vs mirrorless. DSLR have been the standard cameras for decades, but in recent years they've been almost entirely replaced by mirrorless systems. Without going too much into technical details, one of the biggest advantages of mirrorless is much faster and intelligent autofocus. So while you could still go for DSLR systems and save a lot of money, if you are shooting landscapes, for wildlife a mirrorless system will be much better. Autofocus system. Why fast and accurate autofocus is a must. Wildlife doesn't wait for you to nail your focus. I've missed countless shots because my camera's autofocus just couldn't keep up. If you are shooting birds in flight or a running cheetah, you need a fast and reliable off system. Period. Look for a camera with phase detection autofocus, PDAF. It's much faster than contrast detection. Animal eye off. Some newer mirrorless cameras have this, and it's a game changer for sharp wildlife portraits. Tracking modes. You want a camera that can continuously focus on a moving subject without losing it. Mirrorless cameras have been killing it in the off department lately, with models like the Canon R7 or Sony a6700 offering insanely good subject tracking. But even if you go DSLR, make sure your camera has a solid autofocus system, or you'll spend more time cursing than shooting. Burst rate. Why continuous shooting speed matters. Wildlife photography is all about catching the perfect moment, and most of those moments happen in the blink of an eye. Whether it's an eagle taking off or a lion yawning, having a high burst rate, frames per second, or FPS, can mean the difference between a great shot and a missed opportunity. For beginners, aim for at least 8 FPS or more. Some budget-friendly options, like the Canon R7, 15 FPS mechanical, 30 FPS electronic, or Nikon Z50, 11 FPS, give you excellent burst rates without breaking the bank. If your camera can shoot at 10 FPS or higher, you are in a great spot. Anything lower, and you might struggle with fast-moving subjects. Low light performance. Why it's critical for wildlife. Some of the best wildlife action happens in low light, sunrise, sunset, or deep in the forest. A camera with poor low-light performance will leave you with grainy, unusable images when the sun starts dipping below the horizon. Here's what matters. ISO performance. Look for a camera that can handle at least ISO 3200/640 with minimal noise. A wide aperture lens helps. A camera alone won't fix low light. Pairing it with an f2.8 or f4 lens can make a difference. In-body image stabilization, IBIS, helps reduce blur when shooting handheld at slow shutter speeds, even though you can't use slow shutter speeds with fast-moving subjects. Full-frame sensors generally perform better in low light, but some APS-C models, like the Canon R7, do a pretty solid job. If you shoot in dawn or dusk often, test a camera's high ISO performance before buying to avoid frustration later. Best entry-level cameras for wildlife photography in 2025. For beginners looking to get serious without breaking the bank, there are three standout options in 2025: the Canon EOS R10, Nikon Z52, and Sony A6400. Each of these cameras has its strengths and weaknesses, so let's break them down. Canon EOS R10, a speedy all-rounder. Tech specs: sensor, 24.2 megapixels APS-C CMOS. Autofocus, dual pixel f2 with 651 points. Frame rate, 15 fps, mechanical, 23 fps, electronic. Low light performance, ISO 100-32000, expandable to 51200. Memory card, single UHS 2 SD slot. Usability for wildlife. The Canon EOS R10 is an absolute beast when it comes to speed. With 15 fps burst shooting using the mechanical shutter and 23 fps with the electronic shutter, it's a fantastic option for tracking fast-moving animals. The dual-pixel f2 system is snappy, with deep learning AI to detect and track birds, mammals and even reptiles. The APS-C sensor crop also gives your lenses extra reach, ideal for wildlife photographers who can't afford a massive telephoto lens yet. However, the single UHS 2 SD card slot means no redundancy, so be extra careful with storage and only use high-quality memory cards. Video capabilities, resolution and frame rates: 4K 60p, cropped, 4K 30p, oversampled, Full HD 120p. Codecs and bit rates: MP4, H.265 or H264, 8-bit and 10-bit via HDMI. Dynamic range and color profiles: Canon Log 3 available via HDMI output. On the video side, the Canon EOS R10 offers sharp 4K 30p from 6K oversampling, delivering excellent detail. But the 4K 60p mode comes with a crop, which isn't ideal if you're already working with a cropped APS-C sensor. There's no internal 10-bit recording, but Canon Log 3 is available via HDMI, meaning you can pair it with an external recorder for serious grading flexibility. The autofocus in video mode is superb, making it good to record some video clips for social media. However, the lack of 10-bit recording is an issue when it comes to more serious video editing. First, let's discuss the Nikon Z52, a camera known for its great performance in low light. For its technical specifications, the camera has a 20.9 megapixel APS-C sensor. Its autofocus system uses 273 points. It can shoot at a frame rate of 11 frames per second. For low light, its native ISO sensitivity ranges from 100 up to 51200, and this can be expanded to 204,800. The camera uses a single UHS 2 SD memory card. When using it for wildlife photography, the Nikon Z52 is an improvement on the previous model because it has better autofocus tracking, especially for animals. While it doesn't shoot as fast as the EOS R10, it makes up for it with excellent performance in low light. The higher native ISO and good noise reduction make it a great option for taking wildlife photos at dawn or dusk. The camera is also comfortable to hold, with a grip that feels natural and menus that are easy to navigate. Looking at its video capabilities, it records in 4K resolution at 30 frames per second and can also record in Full HD at 120 frames per second for slow motion. It records in the MP4 format and offers a flat color profile but does not include N-Log. For someone focused on video, the Z52 is a little behind its competitors. The 4K video is sharp, but there is no option for 4K at 60 frames per second, which limits your slow motion flexibility. You also have less potential for color grading compared to Canon or Sony. In summary, this camera is a better choice for photographers than for videographers. Next is the Sony A6400, which is known for having the best autofocus and lens selection. The technical details for this camera include a 24.2 megapixel APS-C sensor. Its autofocus uses a 425-point system. It also shoots at 11 frames per second. For low light, the ISO ranges from 100 to 32,000 and can be expanded to 102,400. It has a single memory card slot for a UHS SD card. For wildlife photography, the Sony real-time eye autofocus is what makes the A6400 a special camera. It can lock onto the eyes of animals better than any other camera in its price range, which makes it perfect for photographing birds and other fast-moving mammals. The selection of lenses is also the best available, with many affordable telephoto options. The main drawback is that it only shoots at 11 frames per second, and its buffer can fill up quickly, meaning you have to be more selective about when you take your pictures. When it comes to video, the A6400 is a solid camera, but it is getting older. It provides sharp 4K video at 30 frames per second without a crop, but it does not offer a 60 frames per second option in 4K. Its biggest advantage is that it includes S-Log2, S-Log3, and HLG profiles, which gives you the most flexibility for color grading. However, it does have an issue with rolling shutter in 4K, and it does not have in-body image stabilization, so footage you shoot by hand can be shaky. It is still a great camera for wildlife videography as long as you use a tripod or a gimbal.